Registrar, kindly call the witness in, please. Thank you. Lead counsel.
Welcome back, Mr. Witness. Before I yield the floor to the chairperson, may I remind you that you are still on the word. Madam Chair, back to you.
Lead counsel, you can proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gomez, you were taking us through the various revenue sources of the councils, and you had spoken about cattle tax and about a meeting that was held where it was determined that cattle needed to be vaccinated and council did not have capacity to vaccinate the cattle, I believe. But this is even though the ministry was meant to provide extension workers to the councils. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So can you take us through the other revenue sources? Mining?
Yeah. Some years ago, I made to understand that sand mining operations were in the hands of councils, specifically Brikama Area Council in this respect. But as we speak, that is no longer the case.
And
Instead, what they have in place is a sharing sort of modality in which the council enjoys a certain percentage from the proceeds emanating from sand mining. Likewise for Kerewan Area Council, these two.
And do you know why this was taken from the councils?
No.
Do you know when it was taken from the councils?
I know it was the former republic. That's the last one.
Okay.
Yes, it was taken away from them.
And you said TDA. Which revenue sources are these in respect of?
That is from the tourism.
Sorry, counsel. Let me just intervene here. Sorry for interrupting. Interrupting you. Is there any record that shows the shift of position from the councils receiving those taxes from sand mining or any other kind of mining back to the share basis that you just talked about? Did you come across any record or document?
Yes, I'm not sure that we have it, but I think it was a letter from the Office of the President.
Can you avail us that letter, please, if you check your records?
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll see what it is.
Council, can you proceed?
Thank you. You were informing us about the revenue sources that have gone to TDA.
Yeah. Yes, that is from the hotels or hotel-related points.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When was that?
Again, last republic. I'm not pretty sure about the year, but I could remember it's last republic.
I'm sorry, let me just, I believe this was removed from the-
councils, because some
from
of
councils by the Act, by the Local Government Finance and Audit Act, but correct me if I'm wrong.
yeah.
You were saying something, go ahead.
Yeah, because all this happened because of the creation of what we call semi-autonomous bodies, like GILMA, Gambia Livestock Marketing Board, GT, Gambia Tourism Board, etc. When they were created or when they were established, these revenue sources were given to them and no longer in the hands of the local councils. And that's why there's a need for us to harmonize these policies so that what is due to party is enjoyed by party.
That's why I was asking whether these, the councils were represented at these meetings where it was decided to take away some of their revenue sources.
Yes, that's why I said, unfortunately, I wasn't privy to be at this meeting, and therefore I'll not be in a position to say, yes, councils were represented or not, because myself, I wasn't in that meeting.
Okay. The Local Government Finance and Audit Act provides at section 21(2) on the power to levy rates and taxes. It says, notwithstanding the provisions of the Gambia Tourism Authority Act, all levies, charges, and fees, excluding rates payable in the tourism development areas, shall be paid to the Gambia Tourism Authority. So that was before it was converted to the Gambia Tourism Board. So this has been in the Act for a while. What other fees subsequent to the Finance and Audit Act were relegated to the Tourism Board?
That's the Tourism Board. No, that's the only one I'm aware. Yes. The other one is the billboards, and that is due to the NRA, National Roads Authority.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why was this transferred, or why was this relegated to the National Roads Authority?
Yes, the argument was councils, on the other hand, said they should collect from billboards, while the NRA, on the other hand, said no, they should do the collection because the maintenance of the highway lights were the sole responsibility of NRA and not councils. And I can remember or recall when these highway lights were put in place, councils were not involved from the word go. Until after installing them, then government say, council, you take care. And one may ask, in that situation, are we fair to council? So this was the debate. And that is why NRA said they are responsible for the maintenance of the highway lights whenever they go faulty. So they should be collecting whatever proceeds may emanate from billboards.
Who pays for the provision of the lights?
When they were installed, the responsibility of footing the bill was shouldered by the councils. And that is why councils, there was an outcry.
So the Act, the Local Government Act, under the Part 2 of the second schedule, it provides that it is the local government councils that are responsible for lighting of streets and public places. So who gave the decision that it should actually now, the billboard fees should now be collected by the NRA?
Yes, as I said, is at this meeting that was held at State House, that's where that decision was taken.
So this was during the former republic?
No, current.
Current republic?
Yeah.
So this was not that long ago?
Yes, I still don't think so.
And what was the ministry's role in this? What was the ministry's position?
Yeah, I think ministry agreed for the NRA to collect, since they are responsible for the maintenance of roads. When I talk of roads, primary roads, and also highway lights. And it is important that we distinguish between the two. You have highway lights and you have street lights. what you and myself and others see from Westfield heading into Independence Drive of Banjul, those are called highway lights. And that's the responsibility of NRA.
So which ones are the street lights?
The street lights, let's say lights from the highway into Dipakunda, those we call them street lights.
So which ones are you
That's-
saying are the
those-
responsibility of the council?
Yeah, the street lights. Those are the responsibility of councils. But the highway lights, that's NRA.
So the billboard fees, all of them go to the NRA.
That's right.
So what about car park fees?
Yes, car park fees are indirectly collected by councils, in that they are collected by the Gambia Revenue Authority, GRA, on behalf of councils.
Okay.
Many years ago, some of us may be recall, on Giffin highways as we travel in and out, other than the security checkpoint, we always have come across certain civilian checkpoints with a gentleman or lady with a bag hanging over his or her shoulder and collecting certain fees from drivers. When this was removed, it was handed over to the police and now to GRA. At the time, the sharing was such that Gambia Revenue Authority receives 15% of the proceeds coming from car park fees, and then the Gambia Police Force receives 10%, adding up to 25%, leaving the balance of 75% for councils to enjoy. But again, at a particular meeting, again, unfortunately I wasn't at that meeting, an agreement was reached, and that is the current government, that these two institutions that used to benefit 15% and 10% respectively will now benefit 0%, so that the entire 100% proceeds will go to councils. So GRA collects on behalf of councils, and then the fees are paid to councils.
So you're saying that all the funds collected for car park fees are actually paid over to the councils?
Yes.
Okay. So how do you think the removal of the revenue sources of the councils have impacted their ability to sustain themselves?
Yeah, that automatically will affect them. See, if I was earning a salary of $3 and now shut down to 0.50 butut, it will affect my operations. So same with councils. These were additional sources, rates and taxes aside, these were additional sources of revenue for them. And now that those revenue sources are cut, they are no longer flowing into the councils, certainly it affects in one way or the other their general operations.
And this is on top of the fact that the council's development budget is not being subvented by the ministry.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you're secretary to the Local Government Service Commission, is that right?
Yes.
Can you tell us the relationship, well, what the Local Government Service Commission is and its relationship with the councils and the ministry?
Yes. In other words, the Local Government Service Commission operates like the Public Service Commission.
Okay.
And the Local Government Service Commission does the recruitment, the discipline, the promotion, and transfer of officers from one council to another.
Okay. When was it established?
I think in 2019. Because prior to that, every council has its own individual commission.
Now, what are your duties as secretary to the commission?
My duty include dealing with correspondence emanating from both sides of the divide, as well as taking down minutes during meetings.
And how is the commission funded?
It's funded by central government as part of the annual budget, where they have a budget line created or allocated to them.
So the budget line is under your ministry?
Yes.
And who are the signatories to the account?
No, there is no account as such. It is a budget line in which an amount, a budget is created for them called Unified Local Government Service Commission. As a ministry, we put a sum in that is debated upon during the budget bilateral. And if that amount is approved by the National Assembly, then that sum is put in that budget line for the commission. There's nothing like they have signatories to account. So,
Sorry, go ahead.
okay. When they want to use that budget line, then we request for what we call cash allocation from the central government, that is from Ministry of Finance. You see? And then that whatever amount they request is now allocated, and then the accountant will now disburse it.
The accountant at the Ministry of
Yeah, at the ministry.
Lands.
Yes.
Right. There was a request for the opening of a bank account with Guarantee Trust Bank by your ministry for the Service Commission. Are you aware of that?
No, I'm not aware of that.
Your accountant, is this Ibrahim Majawara?
No, I am not.
Okay. Who's the, okay, that's fine. Does the accountant get paid separately for the services that they render to the Service Commission?
No.
Okay. You're not aware of any letter that was written to the Permanent Secretary requesting for payment of risk allowance, amongst other allowances, for services rendered by the accountant to the Service Commission?
I am not aware.
Okay. So you've told us about, well, you said something about the relationship between the Service Commission and PMO. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
No, what I mean is that the way the Local Government Service Commission operates with councils is just like the Public Service Commission of the central government operating with the Personnel Management Office, PMO.
Now, are you aware of any meetings that were conducted between your ministry and PMO and the PSC?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us about those meetings?
I think the commission was just trying to know how the PSC operates in relation with PMO. Basically, that was the essence of the meeting.
It was the commission that wanted to know?
Yes, how PSC, that is Public Service Commission, how they function, how they operate.
And was this meeting ever held?
Yes, it was held.
And do you know what the outcome was?
No, just as I said, the discussion was always centered around how the Public Service Commission operate, so that the Local Government Service Commission could tailor their operations in the way and manner in which Public Service Commission operates with Personnel Management Office.
Are you aware of a letter that was written by your ministry to the Public Service Commission about this same issue, to obtain advice, technical advice on how the Service Commission should operate vis-a-vis the ministry?
Yes.
And are you aware of the response by the PSC?
I wasn't privy to a response, a formal response for that matter, but I know our ministry have written to PSC on behalf of the commission, requesting for a meeting with them.
You have said that you're not aware of a formal response, but are you aware of any other response?
Yeah, verbal response to say, okay, we agreed, let us meet the so and so as requested.
No. So my question is no longer about the meeting. It's about the advice that was sought by your ministry from PSC and the response by PSC to your ministry, giving them advice, giving your ministry advice on how the Local Government Service Commission should operate.
Yes, perhaps maybe the best answer to that is to provide the minutes to that meeting, if that will help.
I wasn't speaking about a meeting. I asked specifically about letters.
Okay.
A letter sent by your ministry to the PSC
Yes.
requesting technical advice on how the commission and the ministry should operate. And then a response from PSC specifically giving advice to the ministry, your ministry, on how the commission and the ministry should operate.
Yes, there may be a formal request, a formal response, but I don't think I was privy to seeing that formal response. But pretty sure, if we have written formally, when I say if our ministry has written formally to them, the expectation is to respond formally. So probably they may have responded formally to the request.
Mr. Registrar, please. Please show the witness. Can you tell me the reference number for that file?
I wasn't there at the time. I wasn't. Okay. PMD 10/38/01 PMD in brackets 2 dated July 29, 2020.
Thank you. Now, I refer you to the final paragraph on the first page of that letter.
Okay.
Can you just read it and tell us this? Okay, before that, can you confirm that that is a letter from PSC to your ministry?
Yes, I can confirm that is from PSC to our
And
ministry.
it begins, what's the heading of that letter?
Request for technical advice on LGSC relation with MOLRG and RA.
And it is their response to the request for technical advice from your ministry.
Yes.
Okay, so can you now read the last paragraph?
Having set up a local government service commission in accordance with the Local Government Act 2002 amended 2015, the commission should have a designated office and a dedicated secretary who should be appointed by the commission itself in accordance with the Public Service Commission Regulation 3. The Ministry of Lands and Regional Governments should create an order or designate an existing unit, example Directorate of Governance, to serve as a secretariat for the Commission that will work closely with the Secretary to the Commission in the same format as Personnel Management Office.
Okay, thank you. Is that what obtains in your ministry?
No.
Do you know why?
No, I wouldn't know why. Because this wasn't during my time. That's why I said whether PSC responded formally, I'm not aware.
It wasn't during your time as what?
No. As Secretary to the Commission.
But you were Director of Governance?
No.
What position did you have?
I was the principal.
Okay, so you were not involved in the matters of the ministry in this regard?
No.
Okay. So can you tell us what actually obtains between the ministry and the Service Commission now? Sorry, please go ahead.
Okay. What obtains is that the ministry serves as the implementing body of decisions or conveying body of decisions emanating from the Commission. Like the Commission takes decisions, and those decisions are conveyed to the relevant authority or authorities by the ministry.
Okay. Where is does the Commission have an office?
An established office, no.
Okay. And does it have a secretariat?
Again, established, no. But the directorate serves as its secretariat until they are able to get their own office and everything in place.
Does the directorate have its own office?
Yes,
Where's the office located?
at the ministry.
Okay. So the commission doesn't have a designated office, but it has a secretary.
Yes.
That is you. Is there a reason why correspondence from councils doesn't go directly through you, the secretary?
As I said, they are operating in line or similar to the operations of the Public Service Commission.
But the Public Service Commission has given advice on how it should operate.
Yes, which I'm just seeing now.
Yes.
Mhm.
So do you know why it's not operating in that manner?
No, I'm not in a position to say this is the reason or reasons why it's not operating in that manner.
Now, do you know from whom the decision to channel correspondence through the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Lands, came from?
No, I wouldn't know. I did not know.
Now, as Secretary to the Commission,
Mhm.
you sit in on the meetings of the Commission, right?
Yeah.
How often do they sit?
There is nowhere stated that they must sit every week.
But
de-
in practice,
it
how
depends
often
on-
do they sit?
Yeah, sometimes in a month they could sit 4 times.
Okay.
It depends on issues at hand. Or sometimes in a week they sit twice.
When you say issues at hand, can you tell us what kind of issues?
Well, issues will always vary.
Mm.
For example, there could be issues of what will I say? Like some will get disgruntled. Let's say I've taken an action that is maybe not in line or detrimental to a staff. The staff may report the matter formally to Office of the Ombudsman, and then the Office of the Ombudsman will write to the Commission to draw its attention.
What's the relationship between the Office of the Ombudsman and your ministry and the Commission?
Cordial. They work in hand.
No, I mean, what is the working relationship? How do the two work together?
No, they only work when there are issues. Perhaps sometimes some of the issues may not be known to the ministry. The staff in question may go go direct to the Ombudsman, and then the Ombudsman will draw the Commission's attention.
Council? Yeah. Mr. Gomez,
Yes, Chair.
you said you are the secretary to the Local Government Service Commission, right?
Yes.
Yes. It is noted that so many of these petitions are minuted to you for you to take action, right?
Yeah.
And there is set out procedure in the Civil Service Commission regulation as to how to deal with appointments, etc., given the terms of reference of the Service Commission. And do you think the Service Commission is doing its job with respect to recruitment, salary issues, etc., as per their TOR? The reason why I'm making this statement or asking this question is, I believe if you were doing your job, the Ombudsman should not have any role to play, because you would have been following due process as is contained in your regulations. Am I not correct?
Yeah, in some cases.
Huh?
In some cases.
Okay. Thank you. Council, you can.
Thank you. Mr. Gomez, who pays the allowances of the commissioners?
It's government. So government.
Through your ministry.
Yes.
And where does the commission hold its meetings?
At the ministry.
And this is what obtains to date?
Yes.
And it is correct that it is the ministry that provides logistical assistance to the commission as well?
Yes.
And do you think that this affects the decisions of the commission?
No, it may not, but perhaps what you are driving at, if I'm able to read your mind, is perhaps they should be located outside the ministry, which the ministry asked at, I think last month, we are looking for a place to house them outside the ministry.
So when you say that they're looking for a place to house them, where would, I mean, they don't have a dedicated office, they don't sit every day, they're on contract, right?
Yes.
So what would be the purpose of housing them in another office?
Yeah, I know it will have a bearing on the budget, because that place, wherever it is, maybe if it is not a public or government property, rent has to be paid, utilities has to be paid, and other expenses. So maybe for 2023, it may not be feasible, but preparing our minds for the next ensuing year so that that may happen.
So when this dedicated office is established, would your directorate be transferring, or would the secretary be transferring to that office?
Now, it will depend on the commission. They have that leverage to appoint their secretary. Wherever they appoint their secretary, it's their sole responsibility.
You were appointed by the ministry, not by the commission.
Yes. No, I'm referring to when they have their own designated office space.
Are you saying that the ministry has decided that the commission will be appointing its secretary?
No, it's not the ministry that is saying. It's the regulation that says so.
Which regulation?
Local Government Service Commission Regulation 2010.
This is the document that was attached to your statement.
Yes.
This, it says it is, let me just read. In exercise of the powers conferred on the council by Section 26 of the Local Government Service Act 2010, these regulations are hereby made. Is there a Local Government Service Act 2010? Because I'm not aware of this.
No.
There's no act, there's no 2010 act.
No.
And these regulations are purportedly made under that act.
I've never come across it also, personally.
Yes. So who made these regulations?
Government.
Okay. And they didn't check to see whether such an act was actually established?
Yeah, like if you look at the time the regulations were made, I was in there. I just
I
found it,
understand,
so-
but you're there now and you use the regulations. When you're
Yes.
making decisions, you use the regulations.
Yes.
And I'm assuming the commission would use these regulations as well.
Mhm.
And the ministry.
Yes.
And they never checked to see that the act was passed.
I don't think so.
Do you understand the implication of what it means if the regulations are purportedly made under an act that does not exist?
Yeah, because these are part of the Public Service Act.
No. My question is, do you understand what it means? If the act was never passed and a regulation is said to be made under the act, do you know what that means for the regulation?
No.
It does not exist.
Anyway, I've never come across it.
Okay, can you
It
check
May, it may exist. I've never
again
All right.
that whether the act was passed? Because I do not believe that it was passed. So you're saying that these regulations provide for the commission to appoint its own secretary and that it be housed separately from the ministry. Does this mean that the commissioners would then be working full-time?
I don't think so, but maybe the secretariat.
But what, sir?
The secretary. Maybe
Okay.
the secretary will be working full time.
And that means that all correspondence will stop going through the ministry? Or What does it mean?
Not sure what the arrangement will be, whether we continue as it is going through the ministry or going direct to the commission through the secretary. But again, that has a cost implication. It may not be, since there is not a full-time commission that will be seated there like the Public Service Commission, it may not be cost effective.
Now, the Public Service Commission sits full-time for the whole of central government.
Yes.
Do they sit full-time?
I'm not sure, but I think
You
they
think
sit
so?
full-time, yeah.
The Local Government Service Commission is for all of the councils,
Yes,
right? And it's for all the council staff.
yes,
And they're supposed to deal with discipline, hiring, firing, essentially everything that has to do with staff matters for the councils.
yes.
Do you have an idea of how many staff are on the establishment register for councils?
In totality, we don't have, unless we check and add up the figures.
Okay, but do you have
But it varies from council to council.
Okay, so a council like KMC, do you agree that it's a large council?
It is here.
Yes. And do you think they have about 100 staff, maybe?
Oh, more than that.
More than 100?
Yes, far from.
BCC?
The
do you
same.
think the same?
Yeah,
Brikama Area Council?
the same.
Okay, so let's
Like-
just take those three councils and we say that on average they all have 100 staff each. So that's 300 staff. And there are bound to be issues with staff regularly, right? Do you think that in such an instance it would be to the benefit of the councils for the commission to sit periodically rather than full-time?
Yes.
It would be to the benefit of the councils if they sat periodically.
Yes, instead of being full.
Okay, tell me why you think that.
On full time. Yeah, because issues will always come. And when are they coming, we cannot tell. The commission may sit today, tomorrow another issue will come.
So
Should-
that's,
should
that's
they-
why you think they should not sit full-time.
No, I'm looking at the cost-benefit analysis of it, like sitting full-time and sitting as and when issues arise.
Okay, so let's just go back to the cost-benefit analysis. The commissioners are being paid by central government.
Yes,
The chairperson of the commission is being paid 15,000 a month.
yes,
The other commissioners are being paid 10,000 a month.
mhm,
The secretary is being paid 5,000 a month,
mhm.
and they sit periodically. Do they receive sitting allowances?
No,
Right. So I'm trying to understand what you mean when you say the cost implications for the ministry.
no, I was actually referring to like getting them their own office complex like PSC. Yeah, that's what I mean by.
But you've already stated that that's in the works. That is already in the works to get them their own office. So the cost for that would still be the same? Do you not think so?
No, it may not be the same. It may not be the same because once you get them their own office complex, for example, if it is a rented property, rent has to be paid, utilities has to be paid. Perhaps you need to get them a vehicle. So that's why I'm looking at with that arrangement, the cost could go up.
But the ministry wanted to take this responsibility on for itself because the act was amended. Prior to there being a unified local government service commission, there was a local government service commission for each council, right?
Yes.
And it was in 2015 that the act was amended so that there'd be a unified local government service commission. Am I right?
Yes.
And it was in 2019 that the first commission was actually set up and inaugurated,
Yes.
right? So there was a gap of about 4 years from when the act was amended and when the ministry actually started with the mandate that it took on itself. I'm assuming the ministry would have considered cost implications in taking on the administrative staff matters for all the councils. when it decided to amend the legislation? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right. So, using the hypothetical situation that we have created of 300 staff with regular issues, as you said, the commission might sit today and then tomorrow there's another issue. Do you still stand by the position that you do not think it is doable for them to have, for the commission to have a dedicated office with dedicated staff to ensure that the councils operate correctly?
Yes, I'll agree with that.
No, you're saying you still stand by your position that it is not feasible.
It is feasible.
Okay.
And let me just clarify, when you talk of space here, because at the ministry we have departments, and we are looking at also if there is space somewhere in one of the departments where they can be accommodated. So in that case, there will be nothing like payment of rent or other expenses such as bills.
Now, when you say you're looking into, is there a committee that's dealing with this issue?
No. There's no committee dealing with. There's management level.
When you say management, who do you mean?
That's the management of the ministry.
So the PS?
Yes.
Sorry, I just want to refer you to some documents.
Council, may I ask whilst you are going
Yes,
to?
sure.
Mr. Gomez, it is true that some of the letters that are sent from the councils to the ministry, you were given by the permanent secretary specific instructions to carry out certain tasks. Is that normally the situation?
Yes. If they are to do with the commission, then eliminate it to me for the attention of the commission, which I forward to the commission.
Now, it seems that we have taken notice of so many letters that were minuted to you, which indicated that you discussed the same with the permanent secretary. But we do not see any record showing that action was done. What would you explain to that effect?
Yeah, if action is taken, then his office will be aware, because at the conclusion of each meeting, whatever decision or decisions are arrived at by the the commission are conveyed to the permanent secretary.
No, my question is, we have noticed, take a look at, I'm going to hand you over a particular exhibit, that is the area council complaints and petition file, which has been admitted in evidence in this commission. And I'm going to refer you to a particular letter with folio number 125. It's a letter written to the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Lands, Regional Government and Regional Affairs about a formal complaint of encroachment and wrongful registration of compounds within their rating area. And this was minuted to you, for instance. We are just giving you a highlight of some of the issues. We want you to explain why there have been so many challenges and difficulties in executing instructions or implementing certain decisions. So the registrar will give you this, and you can read it out to the commission.
Okay.
And tell us what you did in this.
I can remember.
Yes.
I can remember something about that.
Yeah.
Without reading. Yeah.
Folio number
Yeah.
1225.
Yes. When this was minuted, we convened a meeting.
What is it about? Can you read the letter to us?
Okay.
please?
Dated Brikama Area Council, West Coast Region or Western Region, dated January 12, 2021, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Lands. There's a formal complaint of encroachment and wrongful registration of compounds within our rating area. On behalf of the management of Council, I wish to extend our warmest season's greetings and best wishes for 2022, and to you and the entire staff of the ministry. We would like to bring to your attention the inappropriate conduct of the personnel and agents of the Kanifing municipality in engaging in the wrongful registration of compounds within our rating area, in brackets jurisdiction, notably in Wellingara, Nemakunku, Sanchabasule Job, respectively. As our line ministry, we kindly request for your intervention for an immediate stop of such exercise and to address this critical matter with urgency. We further want to draw your attention for the need to expedite the work of the technical committee set up at the July 2nd, 2020 meeting on the initial boundary issues convened by your office in order to find a sustainable solution to the boundary issues between the two regions. Kindly see attached our report and list of compounds that are historically within the West Coast region and incorrectly listed as properties within the Kanifing municipality. Whilst counting on your swift action, please accept the assurances of our consideration and esteem.
Yes, before
Yeah.
you answer the question,
Okay.
I would wish to refer you to the act which provided for the demarcation and boundaries for the different localities within the different municipal councils. So I'm having difficulty in the council writing to you as a ministry to guide when this is provided for in the legislation. Now you can answer the question.
Okay. As stated in the letter, we convened a meeting of the management of the two councils, that is BCC and KMC, as well as with communities of the two sides affected, as well as the Department of Lands and Surveys, which is the Surveyor General of the Government of the Gambia. The meeting took place because we wanted to organize what I may call a family affair meeting, so that collectively and together we work out a way out of this unfortunate situation. Departments of Lands and Surveys were tasked by the Permanent Secretary at that meeting to work on this boundary issue, because that was the starting point, without which progress cannot be made. So that is how far we've gone. Lands and Surveys were to work out the boundary issues, and then we reconvene. We reconvene this meeting again to move on. Okay.
So let me put on the mic. Let me refer you again to the Local Government Act, which had subsidiary legislation, which is the Local Government Areas Demarcation into Wards Order, which is found in page 83, of CAP 3301 on the volumes and laws of the Gambia. It says Local Government Area Demarcation into Wards Order, arrangements of orders. It gave the citation, it gave the schedule, and it gave the different boundaries and the wards. It explained everything. So do you want to tell this commission that you did not refer to the legislation to help guide this meeting in order to resolve the issue?
Yeah, I'm not sure whether we made reference to the legislation, but what I can remember, there were issues. And the only way to trash them was the Department of Lands and Surveys to work on that boundary issues. and then the meeting can reconvene again. And as you can see, that was the instructions given to me, minuted to me to convene a meeting.
When was this letter dated?
January 12, 2021.
And when did you hold the meeting?
I won't remember which month.
Did you take
But-
any minutes of that meeting? Because you had
I,
different stakeholders that were invited to the
yes,
meeting.
I know some
You must
stakeholders
have a record.
were taking down jottings.
But you will agree with me that records would have been kept as to what was discussed and what was agreed.
Yes, should have been kept.
Can you kindly provide that to the commission?
Okay, I'll see whether we have minutes to that.
So after that meeting, nothing is yet to be done with respect to this request?
Yes, because we are waiting on these people once again, the, lands and surveys.
And what steps are you taking to get the lands and surveys guy do their job?
That will be my boss who can elaborate on that, because he gave instructions for this guy who was also part of the meeting to work on this.
But don't you
And
think
so-
it is also your responsibility to follow up and see that these other people that were assigned to do a job are actually working towards doing the particular job? Because you know, ultimately, these councils have issues. And
Certainly.
you must follow up to make sure that these issues are addressed.
Yeah. Yeah, personally, I've made an informal follow-ups, like when I go to either lands, Department of Community Development, then I pop in there to follow him.
So what is their
How
response?
far? He'll tell me, I'll be ready soon.
So what is their response to this?
At the time, he wasn't ready. At the time of my last follow-up with him, he wasn't
And when was
ready.
that?
Maybe January, I can't remember when.
January of which month? Because
This
is-
year.
Thank you. Registrar, can I have the file, please? Council, can you proceed? Thank you.
Thank you. I actually need the registrar.
Ask this question while we are shuttling through the files. You said the letter was written in 2021.
Yeah.
Instruction was given for
For me to convene a meeting
to convene a meeting
of the, yeah,
of the
parties.
the parties.
Yeah.
That was in 2021.
Yes.
Now that meeting did take place,
Yes, it did take place.
and that meeting agreed for the demarcation to be done,
Yeah.
and that still is in 2021. But up to 2023 this year, January this year, when you checked, nothing was done.
Yeah.
So it means it's been lying there, nothing being done for 2.5 years. Is that a capacity problem? Or it is that the civil servants are not doing their work?
Yeah, I wouldn't know whether that is capacity problem, because, but as I said, it's the Department of Lands and Surveys, because I have no idea about surveying, that is given this responsibility.
So you are telling me there was no deadline given for that job to be done?
Yes, I can't remember whether he was given a deadline to
So
report back.
don't you think that could bring some fracas between the communities that are involved?
I totally agree with you, Commissioner.
And it could be bloody at some time.
Yeah,
And nothing is being done up to now.
yeah.
As we
fine.
speak,
Yes,
nothing is being done.
no, to the best of my knowledge, nothing is being done.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Gomez, as a follow-up to what Commissioner Joyner has just asked you, do you know whether the inhabitants are still paying rates whilst this issue is pending?
No, I wouldn't know. Maybe one of either councils will know. KMC and Brikama will in a better position to know.
But was there not a pause? Did the ministry not ask that everything be on hold pending the resolution of the issue?
Yes.
So it is very likely that the inhabitants are not paying rates whilst the ministry takes its time to regularize the issue.
Yes.
Okay. Please look at that file that you've been giving. I believe it's Exhibit LGC3, Mr. Registrar. Is it LGC3? Thank you. You're being referred to several pages. I believe it is the Banjul City Council appointments file.
This one, and which one? This one.
All those letters refer to
And which one?
the appointment of, or the confirmation of the position of acting
Yeah.
admin officer for Banjul City Council.
Council, yeah.
Yes?
Mhm.
And they refer to one Yusufa Jallo,
Yes.
and that he's been the acting admin for Banjul City Council from at least 2019, sorry. And this issue was still pending as at January in 2023. Now, we asked your PS about this matter when he was before the commission, and he said that he had, I believe, minuted it to you to ask you to deal with this issue, and I believe to forward it to the Service Commission to find out why nothing has been done. Can you tell us what, if anything, has been done?
Yes, as indicated on the file, he minuted to me for me to forward it to the commission, which I have been doing, and it's the role or responsibility of the commission to take action.
You sit on the commission. What
Yes.
have they been doing about it?
No, for this first case, I remember they didn't take action. They only took action because the two of them came together, Director of Admin and Director of Finance. But they only acted on the Director of Finance one.
So when they were sitting to act on the Director of Finance one, were you there?
Yes, I was there.
So do you know why they didn't act on the Director of Admin one?
Yeah, I can't remember whether there was some missing info that they needed. I won't remember exactly what it was, but I remember they didn't take action to confirm him as requested.
They took action to confirm him. Is that what
Yeah.
you said?
Come again?
Did you just say that you remember that they took action to confirm him, or did you mean the finance director?
No, the finance director was the one they confirmed.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're saying you were at the meeting, but you don't know why they didn't confirm the Director of Admin position.
Yes, I wouldn't know. It's, probably, maybe. Anyway, I just.
You said you think that there might be missing documents?
Yeah, maybe, because I think they were saying maybe they didn't have the qualification to occupy the position.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did they request for further documents? Did they decide to advertise for the position? Did they respond in any way?
No, I don't think the position was advertised. I can't remember, but I don't think it was advertised.
And it is the function of the commission to deal with such issues.
Mhm.
And you do not, let me say you do not, do you think that the delay of the commission in appointing a director of admin or advertising the position or even acknowledging to the council why they're not approving the position, do you not think that this has had an impact on the council's work?
So, it has.
And they've been writing consistently for 4 years in respect of that particular position.
Mhm.
Is it usual for the commission to not respond to letters?
It's very unusual.
It's very unusual.
Yeah.
So do you know why in this case? I mean, you were at the meetings.
Yeah.
The issue must have come up.
Yeah,
For
because
4
I
years
forwarded it to-
consistently?
I forwarded it to them.
Yes, you forwarded it to them, and then you sat at the meeting where
Yeah.
they read the letter, I'm assuming.
Mm.
And nothing? They didn't say, they didn't write, they didn't ask you to write. I mean, you take the minutes, right?
Yeah.
And when you've done the minutes, you forward a copy to the ministry?
No.
You do not forward copies of the minutes to the ministry?
No, we only forward decisions taken.
So 1 minute.
Decisions taken.
How do you forward the decisions taken?
For example, if the commission have decided that we want X is promoted from point A to point B, then that decision is communicated so that the ministry can convey that decision.
Now, in forwarding the points, you do forward the minutes of the commission's meetings. I'm sorry.
Yeah, not so. Since I took over, what I found is I just forward the decision or action points, actions to be taken by the ministry.
And these action points are for the ministry to what, write to?
Yes, to write and convey the decisions taken.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. Now, it is correct that there are several instances like this where letters have been written to the commission and there's been no response.
Totally agree.
And these are all in respect of staff matters. And do you think that the fact that the commission does not have a dedicated office is part of the reason why letters are not, I don't know, received on time, perhaps? Your ministry, your permanent secretary had indicated that some of the delay in getting letters to the commission might be because of letters being received on time. Do you think this is correct?
Yes, in a way it is correct.
Okay, tell me. How do you mean? Or why do you say so?
Yeah, maybe like it's the arrangement I found in place, but again some will argue if letters were coming direct to the commission, perhaps that will help speed up the process.
Do you think? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Rather than commission letters passing through the ministry.
Your permanent secretary had also said that one of the reasons why the letters pass through the ministry is so that they can vet the documents that have come for the commission.
Yeah.
Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And how do they vet? Because the letters that come, most of them get minuted to you. Is that not correct?
Yes.
Sometimes it's please, let's discuss, or forward to the service commission.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
for the letters that are for forwarding to the service commission, do you think that it would be easier and faster for them to be addressed to you as the secretary, because they're coming to the same office? Do you think that it would be easier and faster and more efficient for them to be addressed to you as the secretary to the commission?
Yes.
Then it wouldn't have to go to any other body, and you would. So what happens when these letters come? Do you convene a meeting, or do you ask them to convene a meeting?
No, we sent it out to them, and then the chairman will now schedule a meeting.
When you say you send it out to them, who exactly do you send it to?
I sent it to the chairman, commission chair.
At wherever his office is.
Yes.
So that would take another few days.
Probably.
And then it would take a while for him to schedule a meeting where
Schedule a meeting.
all the commissioners can attend.
Yes, he'll need to sound the opinion of the commissioners, whether they are available. Let's say if you want to slate a meeting for the particular day, and out of the numbers, maybe only 2 will be available, then he'll have to reconsider another date.
And what is the quorum for the commission?
5.
5. So if the commission, if the full quorum is not able to meet, that means that there'll be further delays
Yeah,
to the issue.
that's right.
So this is my point. In such instances where there are hypothetically 300 staff to deal with and staff issues arise. If someone has been committing fraud and the issue is reported to the Local Government Service Commission, it would take between a week and 2 weeks, for example, to hold a meeting on that issue. Is that not correct?
Yes.
And the council does not have the power to suspend the staff in question.
Yeah, it will depend on the staff on what category. For some
Categories
categories,
3 up,
for some categories they have the powers.
the council does not have the power to suspend from categories 3 up.
Category 1 and 2, that's what the powers they have.
So that's why I
This
said
year.
from 3 up.
Yeah, category 1 and 2 translates to grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3.
Okay.
So above that.
So
is-
what
is-
kind of staff are in those categories?
They are the lower staff, lower cadre staff.
The what, sorry?
Those on the lower cadre.
I know, like, give me an example.
Drivers,
Okay.
cleaners, secretaries.
Okay. So you've said, or you're saying, so the council does not have the power to suspend the staff from category 3 going up.
Yeah.
So if it's a fraud allegedly conducted by, say, the Deputy Director of Finance, if that position exists, the council writes to the Local Government Service Commission for disciplinary measures to be taken against the staff, or for further investigation and possible disciplinary measures to be taken against the staff. It would take minimum a week for such a meeting to be convened to deal with this issue.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't hear.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. It takes a week for such a meeting to be convened. In the meantime, the council cannot suspend the staff because they do not have the mandate to do that. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the commission will not suspend the staff until they've sat on that issue and investigated it and decided to call a meeting. I'm assuming, perhaps I should just ask you, tell us the procedure in such a case. After you forwarded the letters to the commission, what would happen?
Yes. Once I forward to the commission, the commissioner will now engage other commissioners if he or she wants to convene a meeting. Say, I want to schedule a meeting day X, and then they respond on their availability. And if they are available, then the chair will now ask me to schedule a meeting for that particular day.
And when you're scheduling the meeting, you then have to write to the person involved, and who else?
Yes.
The council?
The council will be part of it, of course.
Okay. So when you're writing, would you now write to the ministry to ask them to forward the decision of the commission to the
Yes.
persons?
That's
So
right.
that would take another few days?
Mhm.
So you would write to the ministry, and then the ministry would write to the persons?
Yes.
Okay. And do you find that usually there's too little time in between when the person is served and the date for the hearing?
Of course, I do.
Is that common?
Is that?
Is it common?
Yeah, sometimes, especially with the rural councils. For these ones here, you can call them a short notice, and they can be called a short notice and appear. But the rural councils, it's too short a notice.
Well, considering that it is a disciplinary matter and they need to, if they wish, have representation present, do you not think they need to be given sufficient time to
Certainly,
appear?
it will be good idea to give them sufficient time so that they prepare themselves before appearing before the commission.
Okay. Now back to what we were saying prior to that. During that period in which the report has come from the council, you have written to the ministry to write to the person and the council, and until the date that the hearing is actually conducted, that would take a few weeks. Is that right?
Probably.
And after the hearing, what is the duration within which a decision will be given?
Yeah, it depends at that sitting. Perhaps if the commission has all that they need to take their final decision, then a decision is taken. In some cases also they may request for additional information that will be coming from outside the ministry, and that will involve consulting here and there to obtain that extra additional information that they request in order to arrive at a conclusion.
And how do they request this additional information?
The same procedure.
The same
right?
writing,
Yes.
etc.
Yeah.
Now, during this period, do they issue temporary measures to the councils in respect of the person? Do they perhaps suspend the person pending the decision? Do they do anything like that?
Yes.
They usually suspend. When would this happen?
Or to stay away from work, for example.
When would they make this decision?
It depends on the gravity of the situation. Like the one you said, I remember Brikama Area Council once reported some cases, and they have to ask those staff to stay away from work. Yeah, pending the outcome of the commission's decision on the matter.
Now, you have a situation like the Canifing Municipal Council, where the council wrote to the ministry, I believe, for onward transmission to the Service Commission about Sainabo Martin and several other staff. Was that issue resolved by the commission?
No, it wasn't forwarded to the commission.
It wasn't forwarded to the commission.
Yeah.
Why was that?
I don't think I'm in a better position to provide an answer.
You're the
Maybe
director of governance.
my superior could provide the answer, because he has to forward it to me for onward transmission to the commission.
So are you saying
So
he
if
never
it is-
forwarded it to you?
If it is not forwarded to me, what do I forward to the commission?
So that's what I'm asking. Are you saying that it was never forwarded to you?
No.
So, but there's been correspondence between the ministry and the council on this issue.
Yes, as you said, normally when he receives, he vests them. And if there is a need to forward them to the commission, they are forwarded. If there is no need for them to the commission, it's dealt at his level, at the level of the ministry.
The commission has the sole mandate to deal with issues of discipline and hiring, firing of council staff. The
Yeah.
CEO is council staff.
Yes.
So where does the ministry come in to decide whether issues of discipline or otherwise should or should not go to the commission?
Yeah, that's why I said I cannot, it's not my decision to decide whether it should be forwarded to the commission or not. Because
As director of governance?
yes, because it wasn't, the letter wasn't sent to me in the first place.
So this
It
is
wasn't addressed to me
Mhm.
or direct to the commission.
So the act requires the commission to be independent.
Yeah.
The Local Government Act requires the Local Government Service Commission to be independent.
Mhm.
It should not answer to any authority or person. Is that right?
Yeah.
So in its independence, it is assumed that they should be able to make any decisions in respect of their mandate without control or interference from any person or authority. And this would include your ministry.
Yes.
So in situations like this where letters are written to the ministry for onward transmission to the commission, and the ministry decides not to send these letters to the commission, do you not think that the ministry is interfering in the independence of the commission?
Yeah, maybe yes. In a way, yes, to some degree.
So this brings me back to my questions about where the commission is hosted, who funds the commission. All of these touch on the independence of the commission. Do you think it is necessary for the commission to have its own office, its own secretariat, its own secretary, and to receive correspondence and send out correspondence on its own behalf, on its own letterhead?
Yes.
And this is what was advised essentially by the Public Service Commission, by the letter that I showed you earlier.
Mhm. Mhm.
Thank you.
Can I just ask two questions? And it's almost 2. We can break for prayers. Registrar, can you give this file to the witness to check? And this one. There it goes. And here. And here. This one is now, Mr. Gomez,
Yes,
please
Chair.
look at that file. There is this letter written from Mansakonko Area Council,
Okay.
and at the back of the letter, the memo, in reference to that letter, there is a memo attached there too, which is talking about an amount of 1,125,000 being monies lost or misappropriated or fraudulently used, and they wrote to your ministry to take action, and that letter or memo was not even minuted to any officer to take action. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't minuted because once you minute, you are now authorizing action.
Yes, the
And-
question
and-
I am asking is that this is found in your files, right? And you are head of governance, and it's a unit under your ministry. And these files pass through your office. Am I correct?
From the top and then to my
Yes.
office. Yeah.
So I am asking you, why is it that some of these things written to you from the councils, why is it that action is not taken on this issues like this, when huge amounts of money are misappropriated?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, but looking at
And,
it,
and the memo is practically begging your office to take action.
Yeah. I agree.
Take a look at, show him. You have anything to say about that?
I've seen. Yes, this was not right on our part, but like you see, it was copied to,
Your boss,
yeah, it was copied to my boss.
and it is not even minuted.
Yes, not minuted to me, so
Okay, can you please show him the,
actions will have been taken.
yes. There is also a letter which is indicating government officials taking active part in politics,
Okay.
rendering the particular municipality. What municipality is that? Can you?
Masa Konko.
Mansakonko. And they listed the political parties whose members are working as staff at the councils and are taking, are involved in active politics that is rendering the work at the council impossible. And this letter also was written to you people for you people to take action. Can you tell me what action you took?
I can't remember, but I think he was suspended.
It is not one person.
No,
that
it's
is
not.
mentioned.
It's not his day. Yeah, it's not one person.
Were they
You're right.
suspended?
I'm not sure whether there are 2 or 3.
Was
but
there
it's not-
was there any action taken?
From our side. I'll have to verify that with your permission.
So would I show him the other letter? What is that letter about?
Lawful erection of shops on the fence of the property of the Catholic Diocese of Banjul.
Yes. This also you were written to
Yeah.
as a ministry to take action, and no action is taken. What do you think will be the consequence of your lack of taking action?
Yes, I agree with you. I'm just seeing this letter for the first time because I wasn't holding this position at this time.
But
So I'm
that
just
letter
saying-
is indicating that repeatedly they have written to the ministry for them to take action.
Yeah, but I'm just seeing it now. So
Okay, that's fair enough.
if
Thank you.
if it is
Can
something
we
that
have
I've
the
seen,
file?
then I can.
Thank you. Council, thank you. We may rise at this point. It's already 2 for prayers and lunch. Thank you so much, and we will reconvene after 1 hour. Thank you.
Sorry.